Okay, so here's part B for number 3. It wants to know how many matches have this team won away from home so far this season. Justify your answer. So if we look for this team, Agutis. So here's Agutis. So we need to figure out what information is important for us to know. So we know that the number of wins is important because we want to know how many wins away from home. We know that the point total is important because this can give us some other information. We know that they have 3 losses, and we also know, we also know that they have no draws, so we're not getting any points for that. And we have these point values here. So 4 points for a win away from home and 3 points for a win at home. Now what I'm going to recommend doing here, again, if you did something different, I'd love to know so I could add it to this video. What I personally did here was I set up a system of equations. So we know that there's 2 types of win points that we can get. We can get points for winning away from home, and we can get points for winning at home. Regardless, though, these are all considered wins. So if we were to say that a win away from home was represented by X number of wins away from home, and we had Y wins at home, altogether, that's going to wind up being 6 total wins, right? What that tells us is x plus 6 equals, x plus y equals 6. That's the first equation in the system of equations that we're going to be developing here. Now, what other equation can we make in the system? Well, we know that we have 20 points total, and we're only getting points from victories because we didn't have any draws, right? If there was a draw here, it would be a little different, and we would have to switch things up a little bit, but since we have no points from draws, we can only focus on the wins. Now, we can get 4 points for a win, as we said, which would be 4x, if that's away from home, and we could get 3 points for a win at home. And so from here we have our system of equations, and we can do basically whatever method you want in order to solve. You could substitute, you can do elimination. Me personally, I would want to do elimination. Now, the key to doing these system of equations, though, is making sure you're solving for what it is you think you're solving for. So if we're trying to find, as they say here, wins away from home, we need to make sure we're solving for whatever variable represents wins away from home. Since we're trying to solve for x, we want to get rid of the y's. We want to eliminate the y's here. And what we can do to do that, multiply by a -3. So that gives us -3x minus 3y equals -18. When we simplify, x equals 2. And that's the answer. So that means, and I do want you to write this out. I think it's usually best to spell out what your answer is supposed to be, especially when it's something like this. So Agutis won 2 games away from home. You don't want to just leave it as x equals 2. Now here's something I'll tell you. Looking at the mark scheme, if you said 2, you would have only gotten 1 point. However, if you didn't know what to do, and you would have shown that you recognized, okay, what are the important points here? We have 6 wins, we need 20 points, or 6 wins gave us 20 points. So if you wrote those 2 out to show that that's what you were thinking about, that was your line of thinking, and you had no idea what to do for the rest of the problem, you still would have gotten 1 point. But you also would have only gotten 1 point if you only put the answer, which is why it's important to show your work.